great players, man, are Garnett and those dudes. Let me see. If Melo's team was to play a USA basketball team of NBA players, is he allowed to play? For sure. Melo is a professional player right now, so if Vytautas play anybody, he's allowed to play in any of those games. Uh, he can play. He's not bound by anything. One of the interesting things, though, that I've seen with international players that happens, sometimes they'll have and it's the same thing that happened with the dude who plays for the Pacers, who's from Lithuania. I want to, man, Zabonis. I want to say it's Zabonis' son, and I might be off. I can't think of his name, but I think it's Zabonis' son, who played for professional teams when he was in Lithuania, but he never got paid. So he was like on loan basically. So he kept his amateur status, then was able to come and play college basketball because he never actually got paid. I want to say maybe if Melo would have did something like that where he went to go play for Vytautas but was not getting paid for it, then he might be able to do it. But then you still had the gray area with the big baller brain in his own shoes and all of that scholarship and all of that stuff. But as we see, the game is back on right now. In the lineup, you got Seskis, Brodus, Sensica, Zukaskas, and Kevin Bristol. Kevin Bristol, man, is a player who I feel like he definitely needs to get a shot in the NBA or something, in the Summer League, the G League, something. I feel like he's shown, at least to me, watching him play, he's got athleticism. The dude can shoot from the top of the key. He's a mid-range devil. He gonna hit those shots. You throw him the lob, he gonna go get it. He gonna run the court. When they run that big baller brand style of offense and it's fast-paced, sprinting everywhere, I feel like he keeps up with everybody. I would love to see Kevin Bristol get a shot. Obviously, I understand he's playing pro ball. Vytautas is somewhere he should be blessed to be a part of, but I think that I would love to see him get a shot somewhere playing pro ball in the NBA somewhere. I feel like he showed that he's got the talent and abilities to do so. Let's see. Got static. I want to say Melo is not playing today. Who knows? I feel like they said that it was some kind of back injury a while ago, but I don't know if I believe it myself. Let me see if we got. Right now, man, you see the game here, boy. They young Bristol. They speak of the devil. Young LeVar out here holding it down on the bench. And static. Look up for the static. Watch. Alright, that's still not. Vytautas still with a solid lead right now. Boy, Starborn. Let me see what's going on right now, man. Hey, if y'all see, oh, you can't see that. Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna. Definitely gonna have to check this out. Have y'all seen this complex conversations video with LeVar Ball and Rich Antonello, where he kind of talks about disrupting industries and all that stuff? I'm gonna watch that. Shout out to my boy Starborn 007. Can y'all see that? He always send me stuff on Snapchat, all types of like videos to watch and all of that stuff. Oh, there he is right there. Starborn 007. He down there right now. Let me see. Get y'all up here. Yeah, always send me stuff, man. I appreciate it. Sometimes I when it comes to this stuff, man, a lot of times I be real hip to it. You know what I'm saying? I try to keep my ear to the street on a lot of stuff, but sometimes I miss stuff, man. Life start to happen, and I miss some of the things that are jumping off, man. So I always appreciate when y'all send me stuff to check out and review. You can hit me on AB the Hero. I got the Facebook page, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, all of that good stuff, man. Go ahead and send me something if you see something, if you wanted to see me talk about it, or we could do a discussion vid or something, and we'll keep it going like that. There he is, Starborn in the building. What's good, my dude? All right. Right now we got Brodus. The lead is stretching here, man. The lead is stretching, 53-34. With 6 minutes into the second half, so Vytautas is looking good today, man. And in my preview video, I said, look, we got one or two things is going to happen. You're going to get a Dzukija team who's going to show up, who's lost 4 of their last 5 games. Their last victory was versus Vytautas, right? And I said they either going to show up defeated and just so used to getting rolled over that they were going to go ahead and lay down for Vytautas, or you can hopefully see a Vytautas team who just coming off a big victory, a lot of great momentum pushing in their favor, also a lot of pressure on them with Nivius getting a victory the other night versus Lichterbills, and they gonna show up ready to play, ready to put that ball in the hoop, and I feel like that's what we seen. LiAngelo Ball just entered the game, so that's a big deal. All right, so LiAngelo is up to 4 points right now. So he just made a basket. Let's check these protocols. Also, man, I love the word protocols. I wish we call, instead of saying statistics or box score, we call it protocols as well. I might go ahead and adapt that in just my normal daily dialogue and add that to my little language bank. You know what I'm saying? Protocols. Like, you got static. Look out for the paddock. Watch it. Alright. Yeah, like, dance for my dogs in the nighttime. Alright. Ball movement is a lot better. Hey, that's what I said, man. I feel like we see now that Dimsha might have been the problem. And I don't know if this is a term that they use a lot in international sports, but in American sports, a lot of times we use the term cancer on the team. So you may have a player who just got a bad like mojo, and that spreads through the locker room like cancer, and a lot of times that affects the other players and ball movement, and then you get a split locker room. And I feel like since they moved Dimsha, like it's almost like removing that cancer from the body, and the body is starting to live and get healthy again, and you're starting to see that ball movement. So you got one or two things. Somebody said to me in the comments that they tried to tell me that the 2 games that they won, they hadn't won. It was 2 games that LaMelo didn't play, right? And then I will say to you, man, it's looking like these next 2 games is a big sign that after they got rid of Dimsha, they go on a 2-game winning streak, because there was a few games in there that LaMelo didn't play, and they also lost that game with Dimsha. But it seems that the common factor between these 2 games here, I don't know. I'm just throwing some stuff out there, but I agree with you. I feel like once they got your boy Dimsha out the way, you starting to see the locker room come together a little bit more. So I think that everybody's kind of working with a common interest in mind. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the what is propelling them to this thing. Because remember, the game after Vytautas' head coach came out and said, "Yo, they've got talent over there. Far more. Their talent level does not reflect on their record." You know what I'm saying? And so everybody was expecting them to go on a little bit of a win streak, and that did not happen. But I feel like we're going to start to see that now. Hopefully we can win out the rest of the season. I don't think that Nivius is going to win out the rest of the season, but if Vytautas can pull that off, we may see them move into 9th place, which would be a big deal for them right now. Dance for my dogs in the nighttime. In the kitchen, wrist cooking like stir fry. Biggs look more motivated. Exactly. See better shot selection from LaMelo. Hopefully we'll see. Yeah, I think that'll be a big deal too. The shot selection from Melo. And I feel like the shot selection thing is it's really tough, right? Because when they're playing the different styles of offense, the the wild and like just get it up shot selection like fits into the BBB style of offense. The thing is that when you're trying to play that style of shot selection with the slow tempo, like it doesn't work out because you're not counting on I'm just going to take this shot here because I know that I'm going to get 30 more shots throughout the rest of the game. When you got the tempo slow way down like that, and you only getting 13 shots a game, you can't afford to have a poor shot selection. So I think it's a matter of LaMelo finding the space of in between those two things, or being able to adjust fully from one style of play to the other style of play. And I think too, what I've seen is, and Seskis and them have talked about this, is like when they first tried to integrate the Ball brothers in there, I felt like the system was, hey, y'all do y'all thing, and then we'll do our thing around y'all. And then so you had two different offenses being ran at the same time, and it just don't work like that. You know what I mean? If they had done a better job with a more slow implementation and being very deliberate and intentional on saying, yo, this is the way we about to play this game here, and you're not finna take all of them crazy shots. And I know he said he tried it, but it also was like, oh, so crazy taking all these wild shots we can't control them type of thing. And I feel like you got to be a little bit sterner, a little bit tougher as a coach when things happen. Next year, Melo will start. I believe that. I think it's the same thing with Lonzo right now in the Lakers, where you came out and you seen them talk about Lonzo and how this summer will be a critical summer for him as far as growth. I think that same thing with Melo. This summer will be critical for him, right? I feel like you'll see that right now. We know a couple of things as far as improvement wise. He's got to get a little bit stronger. Right now we're playing against grown men, 32, 25, 26, older guys. So you got to be able to hold your own in there because they're going to bump around. They're going to bump you around. They're going to try to exploit your weakness. If your weakness is size, you're more likely to get injured because people are going to be a little bit more aggressive with you. I think that physically he's quick enough and has enough confidence in himself where he's going to take shots. He's going to try to get to the basket. It's just the same thing. You got to be able to finish through those things, be able to take that contact, be able to give some physical bumps to other folks and have them feel it, you know what I mean? And be able to keep them off of him a little bit and make them worried about that. And then also just understanding the offense, defensive scheme, and being able to work within all of that stuff. Cortez Vaughn, what's up, man? Cortez Vaughn. Yo. Or to a different team in different country, hopefully. I feel like it's possible that he goes to a different team in a different country. I could foresee that happening. I think the tough part about that is there's a huge investment made into Vytautas so far. And so to just kind of move to a different team and then potentially have to build more relationships and kind of start over or invest more money into that might be a lot to do. But if you're looking at Vytautas right now, I mean, the Big Baller brand is on the jersey. So that's an investment. A lot of it's on the court. It's everywhere. Vytautas has been traveling around the world with them. Like, I don't know. I could foresee it though, man. But I feel like they definitely have made a commitment to both sides in there, and so I'm kind of interested to see where that relationship is going. Who knows though? I wouldn't be surprised either way, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if LaMelo went to a different team, and I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed. Lithuanian ball. LaMelo should go. I'll be honest with you, man. I don't think that the LKL is too good for LaMelo. I feel like we've seen where LaMelo versus the best team in the LKL was the player of the month. So like you see that his talent level is there, right? The talent level is there. It's just that there are other things that are limiting his ability to play the game. You know what I mean? I think it's a difference between having somebody who's played one style of basketball their whole life join this team, and then having this kid who's played join somebody who's played basketball one style their whole entire life join a team that plays a similar style of basketball. It's easier to kind of integrate into that. Then you take a dude like LaMelo who's played different styles of who's played one style of basketball his whole entire life that is completely different than what they play in the LKL. So him having to adjust his game to that style while then also having he's 16. Well, I don't know how much he weighed, but there's obviously a physical difference between him and a lot of those players. So it's just a lot of total adjustments. So that's what I'm saying, and I talked about in the pregame videos and a couple of my other videos. I think that in order for him to thrive, you have to put him in better situations, or you have to wait for him to be able to understand the game, build up a little bit mass in order to play against these older players and be able to do that. And I feel like if somebody's willing to make those adjustments, then he would have thrived this year right now in the LKL if they would have played more of his style of basketball. But obviously his style is not slow it down and like let's kick it down to the post and let me just be a stereotypical like point guard in the LKL. That's not his style. I think to ask him to play that at this point, especially in like literally they came there maybe a week, 4 or 5 days before their first game, like that's pretty tough to do. Jello goes to the Lakers and Melo has to go. Houston, every team needs a Jello for sure. The kid can shoot, man. He definitely could be a spot up shooter in the NBA. What are the stats of the game right now? How many points for Jello? So, yeah, I can get the stats up here for you. Let's see. Right now, we got London on the track. Protocols. Jello with 6 points, 3 from 11. Trap with the Papas. I would love to see Jello go to a team with a very methodical coach, a coach who understands. All right, this is what you're good at, and we want you to do this. I feel like the Spurs and Greg Popovich would be dope for him to go to because Greg Popovich is a guy who puts players in the best situation. Now, what's the dude? Man, I can't think of his name. The guy who came to the Spurs from Portland, and there was some issue with Greg Popovich over coaching him. And man, I can't think of the dude's name. LaMarcus Aldridge, is that what I'm thinking of? Yeah. So that was the thing where they were like, maybe this isn't going to work. And then Popovich said, you know what, let me just let you do your own thing. And I think that even that right there proves to 2 points. What I was saying about LaMelo, about, sometimes you got to let a player like have their style and fit your game around that style for that player. And then also sometimes you need a coach who is going to adjust and change the entire offense around your style to make you like be a better player. I feel like with Jello, he can benefit from a coach who's going to do that, who's going to say, this is what you're great at. This is what we need you for. And they can put him in the game and play him that way. Then you got a LaMelo who, this is what you're good at. This is how we're going to allow you to be the best player on the court. Because I feel like the kid got enough talent to where he could do that. And even if he's not that now, he's got the type of talent and upside that where if you gave him a shot to play serious basketball right now, then by the time he gets his ball body, he's going to be unstoppable. But you got to invest that into him. Let's see what we got here. If Jello goes to the Lakers and Melo has to go. I want to see Jello on the Spurs. This team was supposed to play LeVar's system, coach hard-headed. You said it. Jello ain't making the NBA. There are lots of players who can shoot and have much more talent than him. See, that's the thing about the NBA, right? A lot of times, it's not about the most talented players, right? Now, talent is a big deal, right? But we also talking about business, right? When it came to, if you look at the draft, right? It's back to this, all right? There's a dude who is better than Michael Jordan right now who's not playing in the NBA. Not because he's not the most talented dude out there, but because circumstance. Jello, for one, has the situation and circumstance where an NBA team would be blessed to give him a shot, right? Now, could he take advantage of it? That's up to him. That's up to how much he's going to want to work. If you look at dudes who, Austin Rivers, when Austin Rivers got to the NBA, he was not ready. He went to the G League. He bounced around back door to back door. His dad being a coach for the Clippers is really what saved his career to a lot of people. You look at guys, those things happen. So a lot of times circumstance plays a part. Steph Curry bounced around G League. Definitely did not have the talent and abilities of a Steph Curry, but Steph Curry got his shot because his brother was there, got him on the team with the Golden State Warriors, and he got a shot in the NBA. J.R. Smith's brother, Chris Smith, got a shot playing for the Knicks and some other G League teams because J.R. Smith looked out for him. Dragic, his brother, got a shot in the NBA. So what I'm saying is that Jello Ball has a lot of things going for him that will help him get a shot. Now it's up to him in his game to take advantage of that shot. But do I think he's going to get a shot? Do I think somebody's going to bring him in for a workout? Yes. Do I think that he's going to... I'm just saying, like, that's the key to it to me. You think Lonzo will leave the Lakers if Jello and Melo aren't on the team? No, I don't think so. I think down the line, I don't think that Lonzo is going to sit out or hold out from the Lakers because Jello and Melo aren't on the Lakers squad. I think if Jello gets into the NBA and goes to a different team, I don't foresee Lonzo holding out so he can get on the team somewhere else. Nuh-uh. Yep. Lonzo will have his name in the rafters on the Lakers guaranteed 100%. BBB all day. Popularity for the week. Do you think players from the JBA will make the NBA? I think it's a good shot, man. I think you got to look at it like this. Division I basketball. There are over 130, 140, 200 Division I basketball teams, and there are only 30 there's 2 rounds of 20-some teams, 30-some teams. So even if you go to the NCAA and play Division I basketball, you're not guaranteed a shot in the NBA, right? So now if you think of JBA, 64 players, there how many teams is it? Is it 30 teams? I want to say it's like 30. Let's say 64. All right, so let's just hypothetically. The 64 players who are going to be in the JBA, there's 64 draft spots in the NBA. Is everybody who go to the JBA going to make the NBA? No. They're not drafting the entire JBA into the NBA. If they did now, that would be crazy. And if the JBA was that good, they damn near probably don't even need to go to the NBA. They might as well just keep funneling that talent there if they got players that great. Now, same thing with college basketball. Everybody who go to Duke is not going to the NBA. Everybody who go to Kentucky is not going to the NBA and having this big, illustrious career. It just don't work like that. So you can't expect a ton of players to go from the JBA into the NBA. Can you expect some of them to? Yes. I expect some folks from the JBA to either end up in the NBA or end up playing internationally somewhere. All of them, I don't know. I suspect that given the way that they're setting this whole thing up, I think that you'll see a decent amount of JBA players end up on teams playing professionally in some league around the world. And I think that that's because they'll be used to being professional athletes. What happens with college is you get a scholarship, and so many D1 players throughout the world, right? And you get that degree, and you think, all right, I got my degree. So you either faced with two decisions. I'm either going to chase this degree and try to get a job doing something that I got my degree in, or you're going to say, I'm going to go play basketball. And a lot of times, people make the decision to go the safe route, which is chase this degree. The interesting part is, like most of us know, is that a lot of folks do not get a job in the same realm of their degree. But now, if you come out of high school and you're playing professional basketball, by the time you're done with the JBA, you're probably going to want to continue to play professional basketball. You're going to be used to moving around and traveling within the team. So then you're going to have an agent probably at that point who's going to be looking for you a spot to continue playing. While you're there, you're going to be exposed to so many different scouts who are going to be looking for a spot for you to continue playing. In the NCAA, if you think about how many players play in the NCAA, all of them not being scouted. You have to be so good to get on the national spotlight to then attract the attention of an agent who's then going to help you find a job playing ball overseas. That's tough to do. When you're in the JBA and you're a professional player, you already going to have agents looking at who's the top talent in this league that we can already start to position them to play on other teams professionally. So I think that as a JBA player, you're going to have a better opportunity, and you're going to see a higher percentage of JBA players going to the next level or playing professional ball. Now, are they going to make the ton of players making the NBA? I don't know. That's going to be the tough part. That's going to be based on the talent. But I bet you that you see a lot of players from the JBA continuing their professional careers. In 4 or 5 years, when we start doing these videos about these international players and where they came from, I would not be surprised if you start to see a lot of them with their first professional contracts or career starting in the JBA in a couple years from now. Well, will LeVar go to Jello's games if he's on a different team, or Lonzo's games on the Lakers? I think he's going to show up. I mean, realistically, I think if you see right now, I remember hearing like First Take, Undisputed, Colin Cowherd, and all of them talking about before Jello went to UCLA, before Melo left high school, they were talking about how LeVar is going to focus all of his tension on the cash cow, Lonzo, and he's going to be with the Lakers, and he's going to be so busy with that he's not going to be at UCLA, he's not going to be at the high school, he's going to be doing that. And we've seen that this year has been completely different. He has been with LaMelo and Jello over in Lithuania, making sure things go smooth with that. I foresee that if Jello makes the NBA, Lonzo's in the NBA, I think that that's already mission accomplished. I still foresee LeVar's attention, making sure LaMelo is working and things are happening with that. I don't think that he's going to be like focused on making each NBA game, because that's already in stone. That the check's already signed over there. I feel like it's going to be making sure Melo gets that opportunity. All right. Does a player from Europe or played in Europe have a better chance than college ball? I don't know, man. It just depends on what team, right? If you go, like I said, there's so many different Division I teams. That's what makes college basketball so like interesting. It is in a way, it is almost like international basketball, right? So it's like you can be a professional player overseas internationally, right? But there's a difference between being a professional player in the Euro League and in the NKL, right? So the same way it's the difference between being a college player who plays for Duke and being a college player who plays for Liberty, right? Like you gotta be a baller. Like what's it? Damian Lillard went to Portland State. Steph Curry went to damn, I just forgot what. But he went to a school that you can't even easily remember. You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference. It's the same thing. If you go over there and you playing for Zalgiris in the Euro League and you cooking people, you got a damn good shot. I want to say that I can't think of his name. Donick. There's a player who right now is in talks for being the number one pick in the draft, who is a European player, right? Over the Marvin Bagleys, over the dude from Arizona, Adeoto or whatever his name is. So it's just a toss up, man. It's just going to come to skills. Now, I think that there's a difference between, like I said, if you want to continue to be a professional player. Making it to the NBA is one thing. Being a professional player is a different. If you playing professionally in Europe right now and you want to continue your career, you got a better shot to continue your career playing professional ball, already being a professional player, than if you are a college player looking to get on a professional team. People don't have enough money to scout the depths of college basketball to find professional players. Like Dirk Nowitzki or Rick Rubio or Porzingis or anybody else. What's the score? Let's see. Dance from a dog in the nighttime. Trap with the chicken leg. Da da da. Vytautas is up by 20 points right now. Crap. With the chicken like Popeye. Popeyes! Yeah, like, dang. Dance from a dog in the nighttime. I don't know. Let's see what we got here. Okay, it's caught up a little bit. Oh, well, no, they just haven't scored a point in a minute. Let's look at this. Go back to these protocols here. Check at the game. Rashawn Brothers, 20 minutes. Reggie Mentes his minutes have been declining steadily. I feel like when they first got over there, he was heavy in the rotation, but his minutes are starting to slow down a lot. Zukowskis. Dance with my dolls in the nighttime. In the kitchen wrist cooking like a stir fry. Plus 10. Who's plus 10? Oh, yeah, plus 10. I'm tripping. Did I say plus 20? I did say that, didn't I? I am tripping, man. Dance with my dog in the nighttime. I was tripping, man. Sometimes I struggle to count. No, I'm just kidding. Nah. Good game, though, man. Good game. They got to get that ball in the bucket, though, man. Ball in the bucket, though, man. Yeah, man, but shoot, man, how are y'all out here in the world doing, man? Where we got people in that? We got a few folks watching right now. Where folks at from? Where y'all from? I see we got Lithuanian Ball in here, plus 10 with who was a mathematician and stuff. Where everybody else from out here? Jonathan Grand John. Where you from, man? Dance with my dogs in the nighttime. Any of y'all trying out for this JBA this summer? Dance with my dogs in the nighttime. In the kitchen wrist cooking like a stir fry. static. Look out for the static. Watch it. Uh-oh. Nashville, Tennessee. Hey, I'm gonna be in Nashville, Tennessee, May 12th. I'm going down there. If you know who Romney Malco is, he just made a movie called Prison Logic, and it'll be screened at the Nashville Film Festival. So I'm going to Nashville to check out the Nashville Film Festival to watch the Prison Logic movie May 12th. ATL, shout it. That's what's up, man. I want to buy some. I like Atlanta, man. Is one of my favorite cities, man. I was in Atlanta for the 1996 Olympics, and I fell in love with the city, man. I think it was a Coca-Cola place. They had that room where you could try all the Coca-Cola that you could drink, and for some reason the abundance of Coca-Cola, man, stuck with my heart, and I've been in love with Atlanta ever since. I have not kicked it in Nashville though, so that would be a cool night. Touchdown in Nashville. Want to be a scout for the NBA, just trying to get some knowledge about all this. For sure, man. I want to say, man, that I feel like that's one of those jobs that seems like, man, how do you get to be a scout for the NBA, like a tough one to slide into. And I think that it's really probably just about knowing the right folks. That's one of those, like, I know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody jobs. Then you slide into that. Or we're around the NBA. Like, in order to get in there, do you watch Raptors games? A little bit. Scout, I've been recommend my GM to draft Jello. Put it on the line then. I feel like the NBA scout is one of them jobs where you like got to get your foot in the door somehow, and then you kind of work your way into that position. Predators game while you are in Nashville. I never liked hockey nor respected until I went to a few games. I might check that out. What makes the Predators game so cool? Pocket blue cheese. Sorry, man. Sometimes I Millie rock. Sometimes I Millie rock. Millie to no music, just the music in my head. 72-58 right now. Minute and 21 seconds left in the game. I feel like this is the 5 that Seskis is probably going to close the game out with. We got Jello right now with 6 points. Melo hasn't touched the court. Young Brodus is playing a little bit better basketball. I feel like Seskis has almost called him out a few times, and just really didn't feel like going all the way in on him. But he's definitely starting to get into a little bit of groove, playing a little bit better ball. Pockets blue cheese. Physical dope. Sport once you understand it. Okay. The atmosphere. I feel like that's the atmosphere of sports is always a big deal. Atmosphere of most things. That's one thing I like about baseball. Like, I'm not a huge baseball fan, like watching it live on television, but I can go to a baseball game and really vibe out. Just a lot of times the atmosphere is kind of what does it for me. I actually went to a Bob Seger concert recently. Well, not recently. It was a couple months ago. And I don't know who Bob Seger was, but same thing. It was just a cool experience. A lot of folks there. Atmosphere was great, and we had a good time rocking out to Bob Seger. And he actually had like a one or two songs that I had heard of before. Even though if Bob Seger walked into my house right now, I wouldn't even be able to tell you who he was. Well, probably now because I seen him in concert, but back then, definitely not. All right, 7 seconds left in the game. 72-63. I think it's safe to say this is a W for Vytautas. Young Seskis with a good showing here, man. 17 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds. Pockets blue cheese. Popeyes. 50%. Balling right now, man. Sensa, 25% from 3. Jello only 16 points, yeah. In 10 minutes of play. How many games left to play? Let's see. And the final score, 74-63. Vytautas with the W on a win streak right now. First win streaks of the season. Trap with the chickens like Popeyes. Popeyes. All right, let's see. Games left. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 games. This is the one thing that always throws me off about this their website. Whoever puts the dates in for these games, like, is tripping. This is on their schedule right now, and this says 2015. This is 2012. Then these have the correct dates. But even this, April 2nd, like, that already passed. And this is on like the upcoming games. These are the games that have already taken place. But even these games, 2008, 2018, 2012, like, this game was earlier this week, and they've got the date here at 2012. I don't know what that is. Maybe somebody could. I said 16. I don't know. Feel like we got static. Look out for the paddock. Let's go. Got that W, man. Got the W. W, yes. Let's see who's the leading scorer for the game. Young Seskis, 17 points. Led all scores. Andrew Wiggins' little brother, 15 points. I don't know if that's Andrew Wiggins' little brother. Probably his older brother, if it's his brother at all. Be a much bigger deal though if it was his brother. So I doubt it is. Young Petty, who showed up the last game balling, struggled this game. 1 for 10 from the field. This guy here, I want to say, is typically the leading scorer, and He only walked away with 10 points, which is kind of around his average. Pretty good game, man. Google Translate to translate the page. Yeah, Google Translate. No, or actually, it's two things. This is one thing that you can do that I found that's pretty legit is you can select here. They will translate it to either in Lithuanian or you can do British, which is basically English in itself. So that's kind of what I use. But when you go to the British side, they restrict some of the content because it's all not translated, so you don't get as much. But that's one of the live streams. Somebody taught me that, so that was pretty dope. So, but that's why I have to use if I am using the Lithuanian version, that's why I use it, because you get more information that way, and then Google will translate it. Whereas there's a lot of restrictions with the British version. Lonzo plus equals BBB legacy. Yo. Zalgiris versus Moscow. That game is on now. Yeah, I ain't dance with my dogs in the nighttime. Trap like Popeye. Bubbles. Let's see. All right, man. Another W for Vytautas versus Dzukija. This is a big deal. This will affect the standings. Let's see if we can pull up standings right now. There we go. So now we got. Oh, and so we one more game closer to Dzukija as well. Let's refresh this page. Trap in the like Popeyes, 2 games back from being in 8th place. So that's what I'm saying, man. This was a big game here because and Dzukija just dropped to 9th place, so they needed that W just as bad as Vytautas did. Okay, Lonzo plus Jello equals BBB legacy in the NBA, 100%. China is a terrible league. I'm not hip. I don't know about China being good. Plays for NBA players. Eric McCollum, CJ McCollum, older brother, scored 82 points in China, and nobody talked about it. Haha. That you're using the Lithuanian version. Yo. I will say that from what I've seen, though, China pays pretty good. So I feel like that's the reason why a lot of folks end up making the jump over there. I'm not gonna say that, man. They they pay pretty good. And the team, the Zhanghao Tigers, I feel like even it's the team that Big Baller Vytautas play in like a Big Baller Brand challenge game. But they played the junior squad. They're like pro squad is supposed to be legitimate. And just making that bread over there in the CBA is just like I said, the bread is worth taking the trip over there. But you never know, man. Did J.R. Smith? I feel like J.R. Smith played over there for a little bit, and he kind of went off crazy like that. But I will say this. This is the thing, right? You gotta think about it like this. If LeBron James played in any other league outside of the NBA, we would expect him to put up ridiculous numbers, right? If you're an NBA player and you go into these other leagues, we would expect you to be able to dominate. So, if CJ McCollum's brother goes to the Chinese league and puts up 82 points, to me, that doesn't say like the league is soft. That just says like, all right, he may be talented enough if he can put 82 over there that he could come to the NBA and at least drop 13 points a game. That's the way I look at it. When Jello goes to the LKL and is averaging 15 points a game and is averaging a higher points per game than the top scorer in the LKL, I say, all right, if you can walk into the LKL and lead the league in scoring, then you can go to the NBA and then maybe have some effect on the box score. You feel me? That's just the way I look at it. If you go to the LKL or you go to a different league outside the NBA, and we never heard of you, then I think like, all right, you may struggle to have an effect on the box score in the NBA. But that doesn't mean anything because Brandon Jennings played internationally for a season before he went to the NBA and averaged like 6 points a game and then had a pretty decent career in the NBA. So it's really a toss up. I just think that you're supposed to dominate in certain aspects or in certain leagues. So like with these big baller brand challenge games, where you got Jello who dropped 72 points versus the Zhangjiao Tiger team. You're supposed to drop 72 points versus that team if you are NBA caliber player. If LeBron played against them and he scored 100, I'd be like, all right, that makes sense. You're LeBron James playing versus that team. You're supposed to drop 100 to play. Others are Chinese. See, and that's probably why you get the bread. The thing is this, right? In leagues like that where they restrict the amount of foreigners, right? It also speaks to how good you have to be a foreigner to play in that league. When I was in college, I played junior college football in Kansas. And in Kansas, they had a rule where out of a 55-man roster, only 11 of your players could be from out of the state of Kansas. So, in order to be one of those 11 players, you had to be able to play ball, right? Which then made the league over there one of the best junior college leagues in the country, even though the majority of the team was folks from Kansas who could play a little bit, because they had the top guys from out of state playing in that league, like it made it the top league. It was Texas, then Kansas, and because Texas also had like, I want to say they had a similar rule where like only 5 folks from out of the state of Texas could play on the squad. So you already had Texas who already got super talent, but then you had the top 5 people from out of the state being on that team. And then if you couldn't play over there, then you went to Kansas, and if you were the top 11, then you had to be a baller. So those things, if you were over there playing in China and you got one of 2 spots, then you have to be able to play some good ball for them to waste 1 or 2 spots on you. Average 7 to 10 points. Jello first season in the NBA. I'm gonna tell you this. I feel like potentially Jello's first season in the NBA, he'll probably be coming off the bench, probably be bouncing back and forth between their G League affiliate team and doing that. I feel like his first season in the NBA will kind of look like that. And that's not a knock on him. That's just a reality of there are a lot of players who are really, really good in college who get to the NBA and don't see the court their first year. Like, you have to be first round draft pick, top 15 in order to like strictly be I'm not playing any G League. I'm only playing on the major NBA squad before you have to bounce around like that. If you look at folks who play for the Lakers, Thomas Bryant, who was the man over at Indiana, played a lot of games with the G League squad. Gary Payton II, who was a baller, played a lot of games with the Josh Hart, played some G League games. Caruso bounced back and forth. If you just look at a lot of the folks who end up getting drafted or go undrafted to the NBA, a lot of those players played both G League for a couple seasons before they solidify themselves on an NBA team. Person on their roster. Let me see. League, the worst mistake ever. Jello would average like 40. But if you put Jello in the G League, I don't know. I think it's tough, man. If they give Jello the green light down there, he could average 40. But the tough part about the G League is that everybody on that team is trying to make the NBA. So if Jello is averaging 40 and he's taking 20, 25 shots a game, somebody else who really, really, really wants to play in the NBA is not taking those shots. So that person is not giving up that many shots. So it's just a tough thing to kind of navigate when you get to G League there. Let me see. Let's switch to here so we can get some of these comments in the video before we get off. All right. Jello would kill competition training camp. He should be the 15th person on the roster. I feel like it would be dope to see him 15th person on the roster, man. I think that while he has got a big enough name that will warrant him getting the shot, I think that he also will walk in with the same thing, what they call that target on his back, right? Or there'll be so many people watching to see how good he does, to this and this, and they'll have these unreal expectations for him, right? So it's like people hop out and say, "Oh my God, there's no way Jello can get drafted," right? Whereas there are players, Yogi Ferrell, who plays for the Dallas Mavericks, didn't get drafted, and right now ended up starting last season for the Dallas Mavericks. The ideal of the only way to make it to the NBA is to get drafted is ridiculous. Or the ideal of like, yo, if you don't get drafted and then you get brought in as a free agent, that's a bad idea or not cool. When I think that a lot of folks are trying to put that on Jello as like, yo, if he don't get drafted, it's gonna be bad. Nah, if he don't get drafted, that's dope because then the Lakers could just sign him to their G League squad. Like, so we'll see. No completion. It's cupcakes, bro. I don't know if I can't say the G League cupcakes, bro. They got some players. They have some players down there. Young Vander Blue for the Lakers was the leading scorer in the G League for a couple years, and you seen what he was doing in last year's summer league, lighting the scoreboard up. It's a lot of folks. Young Jimmer Fredette was traveling with the G League for a while. We seen what he was doing in college. It's a lot of players who can ball who touch down in that G League. So. I've been the cool going insane. G League. Alright. We'll see though, man. Game is over. We've seen Vytautas right now still in that 10th place spot, but only 2 games behind. I want to say 5 games left in the season. So hopefully they can move up. 74-63 is the final score. Boy, Jello walked away with 6 points in this game. Not a super great outing, but they got the W, man. And one of the big things that we hear a lot from folks in the ball camp is it's about the W, not the stat line, and they have accomplished that today. So good basketball, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. So pretty good, man. Do you watch the Raptors games? I did not watch the latest Raptors game. I did see the little clip of your boy Drake, extra hype about them, about the Raptors getting that. I feel like they came back or something, scored 5 points in a row or something, and Drake was super amped. Let me see. Jello got to go out with the bang before. Yeah. He got to show up in one of these games and torch some things. Let's see. Blade Runner says, what Lithuanian folks like about Jello is that he's silent, hardworking, and never complains. Not like his younger brother, PlayStation, Werewolf, Eden, etc. I feel like the difference is, I don't think that I've ever heard Melo complain about anything either. I don't think that you hear much from any of them. I think also that this is a little bit more like do or die at this point for Jello than it is Melo as well. It's on Facebook, by the way. I'm going to have to check that out. I got to really catch up with my Ball in the Family. I'm like this, man. I don't really like to watch a lot of like episodic shows as they're rolling out because I get caught up, man, and I'll sit down and put away 4 or 5 of them in a row. So I like to let them play, get a couple seasons out, and then I'll sit down and kind of binge watch. I gotta get some water, man. But I don't know, man. I think that the difference between Jello and Melo is Melo is 16, Jello is what, 18, 19 years old, which doesn't sound like a huge difference, but it is. If you think of maturity levels between a junior in high school and a freshman in college is light years apart. And if you think of the maturity level between a freshman in college and a senior is light years apart. So I think that's the big difference. If your issue with Melo is that he's a teenager, then like to me that's par for the course. Valanciunas. Oh, I want to say that I like young Valanciunas. Let me see. That's the guy who mentioned before that he was like, "Yo, tell the Ball family to holler at me. I'll make sure they straight in Lithuania." Cali and lead the Bruins to the finals. Then Melo should be a lottery. Yep. I want to say, man, I wonder. Do you think that at this point it would? What would have added? All right, now let's think about this. You take. Let me cut this one here. I'm gonna go to. All right, tell me what y'all think about this. Do you think it would have been a better look for, or more experience, or which one would the better scenario would have been of this year, Melo still playing at Chino Hills, leading the team to what they win the state championship, and doing that. Obviously, the competition level between high school basketball at Chino Hills and then what they're playing against in the LKL is light years apart. Or Melo going to the LKL, playing professional basketball in Lithuania, having that season underneath his belt. Which one of those do you think will benefit him long term, right? Because I feel like the issue that a lot of folks have is the maturity level. So I feel like a season in high school just adds to like some more of that the immaturity, you know what I'm saying? Whereas a season playing professional basketball, while you still may be adjusting like that, I think that the pace of growth and like maturity is definitely far more like productive, or will be better in playing professional basketball for a year. So I don't know, but I would like to know what y'all think about that. Lithuania is a much better place. Melo is playing games during nighttime while Jello is resting like a professional is supposed to. His diet is horrible too. He should follow Jello in terms of attitude. That's what I'm saying though. I think that is tough. Even before when Melo was still in playing big baller brand AAU basketball, he was sitting up all night playing games. You've seen that in the Ball in the Family episode too. I think that is just tough. It's a very tough thing to do, right? If you think about the beginning of this year, Melo was preparing to be a high school basketball player. And then in December, he was preparing to be a professional basketball player. Jello was preparing to be a college basketball player at UCLA, which comes with a different level of maturity. So I just think that, to me, it's just the expectations have to be different when you have a 16-year-old who you're saying, all right, come over here across the country and then be a professional basketball player. I think if Melo could not play video games and eat Skittles, he would probably hate his time over in Lithuania and wouldn't want to do it. Especially when he hop on Instagram and all of his friends over here are doing the same thing. Now, I think that if you're chasing to be a pro, you got to do things that pros do. But I think he still got time. He really, would still be going into his senior year of high school next year. And then before he could even make it to the NBA, would have to do another year of college. So if in 3 years from now, when Melo's starting to get his opportunity to go to college, people are still like, man, he's still up all night playing Fortnite, I think you got an issue then. But I think right now, I don't think you got an issue. It's more, but offense is written all over him. Exactly. He definitely is an offensive dynamo. Um, he have a chance to be and learn and training from pro basketball players for sure. The coach hates when Melo is pulling 40 feet and splashing them, and the coach is just hating. Haha. Neither Melo is. I don't know, man. I think that's the tough part is who's benefiting. Melo is definitely has helped. Melo's presence in Lithuania has definitely helped the team for sure. I think that we see Melo make those shots though in the big baller brand challenge games, but then you also I feel like that's another thing, right? You got to look at he takes the same shots in different games, and he makes them in the BBB challenge games, and then struggles sometimes in the LKL games, right? We've seen him hit them shots in the LKL games. We've seen him miss some shots in the BBB challenge games. It's about finding a happy medium, and I think that is to me, that falls on the coach. Coach always defends Melo during the press conference. That he does do that sometimes. It's next for Melo. I think you're not coach. Coach always defends Melo. Yeah, he does. He does speak up for him. And that's what I said the one time. The coach said something about how he felt like Melo was blessed with his basketball abilities. So I think that even speaks to like the fact that he has to be on the court. What is next for Melo? I think that what I see being next for Melo is obviously he's going to continue to play pro ball somewhere. Whether that's in Lithuania, I'm not sure. Will he play in the JBA? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they had like if he showed up for like well, technically he don't meet the age requirement for the JBA. First of all, he is neither a high school senior or working at his GED at the moment. So, and he's not. You have to be 17 to 19. I don't think he falls in that. So he definitely probably won't play in the JBA this season. Maybe next season. But so I don't know. Should Melo leave Lithuania? I would say I think that I don't think so, man. I don't know. It depends on the opportunity. If there's a team who is more suited for him, then I say, hey man, do what you got to do. But like I said earlier, they already put a lot of money already in the Vytautas team. So to leave that money on the table may be not a good look. I mean, LeVar has been the coach and owner of all of LaMelo's teams basically his whole entire basketball career. So if he wanted to let him play in the JBA, he could let him play. For sure. I think that it's tough to judge on what team would be good for him because right now he's 16 years old. He's still got 2 to 3 years before he'll be an NBA player. So it's so different between, if I think about me when I was a sophomore, junior in high school versus me as a freshman in high school, it's almost two different people. If I think about my freshman year in college, a sophomore in high school, a freshman in college, two different people. If I think about me from a freshman in college to a senior, it's almost two different people right there. So I think that style of play would be his style of play, his ability to incorporate different styles into his game will be much different by the time he reaches his by the time he's ready to go to the NBA. I think that so So right now, if you say, "Yo, we want to take 16-year-old Melo in there," it'll be tough to really pinpoint what team he'll fit on because, like I said, I think if you want him to be successful, you have to tailor your game to fit his. So teams like the Warriors, who's shooting threes all over the place, he would fit into that. But I think down the line, he may be able to adjust a little bit more. I think that what people get caught up with Melo is they think of him right now as a 16-year-old as opposed to him as a 19-year-old. And I think that people would get lost in the fact that there's growth between like being 16, 17, 18, 19. The growth in maturity, physical abilities is exponential during that time. And I think that people lose that when they think about Melo and then also Jello. And then also like the ideal of putting in work. Like even if Melo don't play in the JBA and he just come to practice and work out with them dudes, like exponentially going to be better. You know what I'm saying? Just focusing on his game. If he come back over the summer and just work with Lonzo, who is about to put work in over the summer, by the time August roll around, game going to be exponentially better. I just think that people don't take into account that growth has to happen. Trap with the chickens like Popeyes. Popeyes. But yeah, man, we finna get up off here, man. I appreciate y'all tuning in, checking out the live stream, man. It's been real. It's been real. But like we said, man, it's your main man, AB the Hero. I'm out. Peace.